Here we are, another day in quarantine, and tonight I'm going to be making homemade lasagna for dinner. The recipe that I'm going to be using for this is from this cookbook here. It's called From the Neutral Corner. This cookbook was put together by my grandma and my grandpa as a Christmas gift to our family in 1996. It is one of my prized possessions. So her lasagna recipe is pretty classic and a crowd pleaser, I'd say. It's delicious. The reason why I wanted to make this tonight is because it makes quite a bit and it'll last for the two of us here in this house probably the rest of the week, which is great when we're not going out. We're going to be eating it for the next few days. Also, the sauce that we make for this recipe, there will be leftovers that I'm not going to use in the lasagna, so I'm going to containerize those leftover sauce and freeze it for a delicious meaty red sauce for pasta next week or the week after that. Who knows how long we're going to be stuck inside. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own noodles for this, lasagna noodles, but you are more than welcome to use store-bought noodles. My grandma actually has listed in the ingredients list 12 ounces lasagna noodles, just dried from the store. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I filmed a fresh pasta dough video that's on my channel as well. If you want to learn how to make fresh pasta dough, go back to that one and learn how to make it. It's delicious and simple. Here we go. All right. First things first. All right. So now we're going to assemble the sauce. I've made my noodles. I'm going to cook them off in a while. This is this meaty sauce that's going to go in between all of the layers of the noodles with the cheese. So first, grab yourself a heavy bottom pan, some kind of saute pan or a pot like this is going to work best. Next, medium, high-ish heat. I'm going to go medium. A nice drizzle of olive oil onto the bottom of your pan. First, we're going to be sauteing the onions and garlic together. So you want a nice drizzle of olive oil in there. Let that warm up. It's going to take a second. All right, onions going into this warm pot. Give them a nice little stir to coat them in the oil. Next, we're going to add the garlic, 4 cloves, and that is 1 yellow onion diced up. Not trying to brown these onions at all, just trying to get them translucent, sweat it out a little bit. So the onions and garlic have been sauteing for a few minutes now. These are perfect. On the verge of starting to brown, but not. They're changed color. They're a little bit more yellow, looking a little transparent. Now we add the beef. So I just added 2 pounds of ground beef into the onion and garlic. This is 4 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of onion salt, a tablespoon of or dried oregano and a quarter of a teaspoon of pepper. I'll probably end up adding more pepper. Smells delicious. Start browning that meat. Crank the heat up to medium-high. So our sauce has been simmering for 2 hours now. It has reduced, it's thick, it's rich, and I did a couple of things off camera while it's been simmering. Originally I said to lid it. Don't do that. You want it to reduce, so no lid, never use a lid. I also added a few pinches of sugar. I tasted it and the canned tomatoes were very acidic, and just a couple pinches of sugar will cut through that acidity, and the tomato, you won't notice that there's sugar in there, but it just will taste more balanced. So here it is. It is thick. She looks great. She's ready to be lasagna. Our next step is going to be boiling our noodles, our lasagna noodles, in batches in a pot of boiling water with some salt in it, so it's salty like the sea, and then we'll move on to assembly. For the noodles that I made, since they're homemade, I'm only going to boil them for about 4 minutes, and I'll do them in batches, a couple of the long strips at a time, and then I'll lay them on this cutting board with parchment in between them so that they don't stick to each other. If you're using store-bought lasagna noodles, just follow the instructions on the back of the package. They'll probably need to be in the water for a little bit longer, something like 7 minutes, but you'll still want to put something in between the noodles after they're cooked off so that they don't stick together. So here we go. Now we have all of the components finished. We're ready to assemble our lasagna. You're gonna need a baking pan. Anything rectangular or square will be fine. Use what you have. Our first layer is going to be red sauce, so that the noodles don't stick to the bottom. So a nice thin layer of red sauce. Also, while we're doing this, quiet on set. Anyways, while we're doing this assembly, our oven is preheating at 350 right now. Once we're done with this, we're gonna throw it in the oven uncovered, and we're gonna wait 1 more hour until we get to eat. Next is noodles. So first layer of sauce, first layer of noodles is down. Next we're gonna do cheese. We have 3 different cheeses here. 2 cups of ricotta, 2 cups of mozzarella. This is just like cherry-sized mozzarella that I cut in half, and then 2 cups of Parmesan. I'm gonna go ricotta first, just in dollops, randomly around. It's gonna spread as it cooks, so just be generous. Some mozzarella. All of this is going to melt, so just think of it kind of oozing out and covering this layer of pasta. And then Parmesan, sprinkle Parmesan on top of that. So after this layer of cheese, ricotta, mozzarella, Parmesan, we're gonna go with another layer of red sauce. You don't really want to spread it around because of the cheese, just kind of drizzle it on top in a nice layer. And then we'll move on to another layer of noodles. Now that we have the first layer, sauce, noodle, cheese, sauce, we're gonna continue layering the same pattern until we reach the top of the pan. I like it when the noodles kind of stagger in between layers. So I'm gonna go this way the first layer, and then I'll go short the next layer, long the next layer, short the next layer. So that's what I'm gonna continue doing. It's been a little bit over an hour now. Lasagna is out of the oven. I am back into my quarantine uniform. We've got red wine. We've got beautiful lasagna. Can't wait to eat it. What? Start over? Not good? Right. So it's been a little bit over an hour now. Our lasagna has been out of the oven for probably 20 minutes. It looks fantastic. I mean, nice crispy edges, saucy, cheesy. It's gonna be delicious. It's gonna last us for the rest of the week. What I also love about this recipe is you get a bit of extra sauce. I almost have an entire quart of extra meat sauce here that I'm gonna put in the freezer and I'm going to be able to use for the next few weeks in pasta dishes, or if I wanna make more lasagna next week, it's here for me. And during this time of quarantine, anything like this is absolutely key. So I'm stoked about this. This is gonna last the rest of the week. I've got dinner, I've got lunch, maybe it's breakfast. Cook an egg, put it on top of your lasagna. Who cares? We're in dire times right now. We don't know what's gonna happen. Eat lasagna.